Okay, it's Catherine here, hi, from the Slaa program. I want to offer some help to the partners of sex and love addicts, or sex addicts. There's actually a program, and it's a 12-step recovery program. It's a support program similar to Al-Anon, if you've heard of Al-Anon. I found it about a year ago, and it's quite interesting. I got told by a Slaa lady. I'm going to read out the pamphlet to you and so you understand what it is. Cosa tools. I've got some stuff here that might really help you. That really helped me actually, because I was with a partner that was a sex addict. So many of the tools listed here are those many of us have found helpful in our individual recoveries. Used and applied in our daily lives, these tools help us to achieve sanity and serenity, whether or not the sex addict chooses to recover. So guys, I'm going to cover this in a sec. When I get a coffee, be back in a minute. Okay, I'm going to read this out for you. The word Cosa is not an abbreviation, and our members identify themselves in many different ways. Some choose co-sex addict, codependent to sexual addiction, or sexual codependent for other sex addiction family member, or simply co-addict fits best. One of the most difficult aspects of what we call co-sex addict or sexual dependency is grasping and facing the truth of our own condition. Another is admitting our powerlessness over the addict. The continual attempt to affect or control the sex addict renders our lives unmanageable. Behaviours that are familiar to the co-addict codependency are recognisable and detrimental to both the addict and the co-addict codependent themselves. This does not mean that we caused the addiction. Denial and delusional thinking of the co-addict codependent increases by making self-hatred efforts to stop the sex abuse, believing promises it won't happen again, or by ignoring others' reports of the sex addict acting out. So in other words, ignoring what's really going on. Ways in which the co-addict codependent enables the addict, because you're an enabler, and processes in her or his own illness are through lying about it, explaining away, or covering up the sex addict's behaviour. Some clues in recognising one's co-addiction, codependency, might be obsession or constant thinking about the sex addict, constantly looking for clues of the sex addict's acting out, checking on amounts of money spent by the sex addict, looking up their account details, checking on where the sex addict has been or for how long, or being obsessed about it all, and even more things. Checking in private journals or with friends of the sex addicts for clues. And I did all this. Because of the difficulty in admitting our powerlessness over the sex addict, because we think we've got power over it, but we don't. Continued attempts to influence the sex addict to quit the acting out isolate the duration of frequency of these attempts to change or control the sex addict increases the unmanageability in our own lives. This is known as progression. We know it well, don't we, guys? Our self-esteem as sexual co-addicts, codependents, continually becomes worse. It even, in our case, we were getting into domestic violence. That's another facet. If we just looked different, or got more plastic surgery, or we're more intelligent, more attractive, bigger boobs, breast implants, we could change the sex addict. So we thought. We do things to ourselves and others that are abusive and degrading. Yes. Through our co-addiction, codependency, we're experiencing loss of memory. Oh, this is a good one. Through our co-addiction, guys, take this one in. Our codependency, we experienced these things: loss of memory, insane behaviours or destructive acts against ourselves or others near us, taking it out on others, at times accidents or other dangerous situations produced by our preoccupation with the sex addicts occur. I had that. Went through a lot of red lights getting tickets with cars too, speeding because of it, trying to get to where he was to see if he was up to no good or if his car was there or not. Fucking insane. We get caught up in a merry-go-round of our own emotions, swinging from hope to fear, from grief to self-pity, from anger to guilt and hate and rage, and back to hope again, in cycles that progress. We find ourselves numb as we enter the late stages. Our own sense of boundaries, morals and ethics erodes or rigidifies, whatever that means, as our co-addiction codependency advances in its own debilitating stages. Finally, in the progression of our illness of codependency, addict, our spiritual being, the essence of who we are, is lost. Sounds familiar, doesn't it? Familiar to me. So how to recover is journaling. This can be a very important part of our recovery, helping us to investigate and examine our lives and record our thoughts, feelings and insights. Journaling can be any reflective writing and step work, including poetry, letters, writing songs, which we don't intend to send, letters that we don't intend to send to our higher power and people that we have issues with. List and stream of consciousness writing, to name a few. Okay. Celibacy. Some of us find the periods of celibacy can help couples focus on communication and intimacy by taking the focus of being sexual and placing it on growth and true intimacy. Setting boundaries. Boundaries are personal choices, and no one in Cosa will decide what your boundaries need to be. You can ask a Cosa friend or a sponsor about the kinds of boundaries they have set out and how they discover their own boundaries. To get ideas and inspirations for discovering your own personal boundaries, go to the Cosa website, which is www.cosa.recovery.org. Get help there. I'll let you know about what meetings are on and everything too. I don't think there's any in Australia, but I know they're around the world and in USA. Go to your meetings. That's just going to support you. You need support in this, as stuff drives you insane. Defining our sobriety and inner circle behaviours. In defining our own sobriety, so now we're putting the focus on us instead of our partner or loved one. We make a list of those behaviours we engaged in that made us and the situation worse. Most Cosa members report that they find their definition of their Cosa sobriety evolves over time. So it unfolds as you go through the process of recovery, and includes both those behaviours we choose to no longer engage in, as well as those new behaviours we begin to embrace that are self-nurturing. We must self-nurture. In being obsessed with the other person, we're forgetting about ourselves, and I did that. We forget to brush our teeth, we forget to go to the dentist, we forget to go to the doctor, we miss appointments, and I'm saying this because I did all this. We make bad choices in our life because we want to rush to find the partner or find out what he's doing or her. We forget about getting new clothes or new shoes. We don't bathe or things like that, or do our hair or makeup, or or things like that, or we overdo it, or we just forget about ourselves. We need to take care of ourselves. It's really important. So I hope this really helps, and get to some Cosa meetings and look it up, and it's really helpful. Also, prayer and meditation. To some, prayer is talking to a higher power, and meditation is listening to a higher power, but both can be difficult when we first come to the program. We may feel disconnected or even angry at our higher power, and therefore resist or even avoid prayer. Meditation is a tool that may be difficult at first, as well as our minds are often spinning with the pain and anger we feel towards our loved one's compulsive sexual behaviours. Through patience and practice, both tools can become trusted allies on our recovery journey. Honesty. Listen to this is very important. Striving to eliminate denial, half-truths, white lies, partial truths, overt dishonesty with others and ourselves. This includes denying or lying about our feelings, which we know well, don't we? Learning to be rigorously honest with ourselves and others is a journey. So slogans: one day at a time, progress not perfection. It works if you work it. 12-step program, 12 steps. Work them, get a sponsor and get help. A sponsor is a person who serves as a guide through the 12-step process. After you have been attending a meeting for a bit, you may find that there are people who have a story similar to yours, or who identify with in some way, and also people who have the serenity you are seeking for your own life. It is your responsibility to ask another Cosa member to be your sponsor. They will not come to you. A sponsor is someone who agrees to be your sponsor, can be honest with you, support you, knows your whole story, let them get to know you, holds your accountability for working your Cosa program, and helps you focus on how the steps apply to your life. This relationship often becomes the lifeline that we seek. We can form a healthy, nurturing bond with our sponsors, who share their experience, strength and hope with us in working the steps of Cosa. A realization and promises, and realizing and promises, the promises and gifts that Cosa recovery can bring. Those of us who serve as sponsors most often find that our own recovery is enhanced by the experience. If you do not have to have a face-to-face meeting near you, you can sign up for a long-distance temporary sponsor via our website, or join the online message boards and make a posting asking if anyone is available as a sponsor. Get help. Support network. Just actually on that website too, which is where I got this pamphlet, you can download this tools pamphlet. It's called Tools. Download it. Get help. Peace.